You smoke dog!
Hello fellow geeks, welcome to cityofgeek.com's new series we all watch down here, a retrospective of the works of Stephen King on film and television. We're going to call this episode 0, which is going to be an introduction episode of going through what to expect in this series in the upcoming months, years, decades, forever and ever and ever. Because that is not too much of an overstatement. Stephen King has a lot of adaptations. We're not going to go through every single one of them. We do have a couple of rules and ideas, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. My name is Bob, and I'm one of the writers here at City of Geek. Usually you can find me on all the podcasts, all the videos, etc., etc. So just go to cityofgeek.com, see everything I work on there. Like the other people who will be on this in a little bit, I am a panelist at Crypticon. I'm part of the film festival, and I just love horror films, love Stephen King. I do a bachelor's in film studies and in English literature, so storytelling is a very important thing to me, especially for horror, of how we tell stories, how we adapt them, how we look at them from different points of view. And that's one thing we're looking for this series, is not just how they great as a movie, is how well they adapt, but themes transfer from one place to the next, or awesomeness, that sucked. I'm sorry, but that sucked, and we're just gonna do a 1-minute video on Sleepwalkers and call it a day. No, I'm kidding. Sleepwalkers, actually, I can't wait to talk about it. I love that movie, for all the best, worst reasons. But that's a preview for like a year, 3 years, 15 years from now. And I'm not gonna spend this video explaining who Stephen King is, going through his history, his past. He was born in 1947, he's 71, is the most well-read author in the world. I'm not gonna go into that at all. That's gonna be something that might come up a little bit into each entry as we go through like the book portion, where that history is, where he is in his life, where things are at generally. But yeah, if you need to know more Stephen King, go to Wikipedia, ask us some questions, we'll talk about that more. But this is more for the presentation of the product that we're going over, not King himself. This idea was born of a panel at Crypticon 2018, which I had the opportunity to be a moderator of going through for an hour of the best, the worst, the unsung of Stephen King's catalog on TV and film, and that's definitely not enough time to go through everything. Each title needs its time to breathe, rather than just going through the list of what we liked, what we did, and maybe a couple notes here and there. Doing something like this allows us to go through everything one by one and really look at it to a deeper degree than an hour-long panel for X number of TV shows and movies. Crypticon is a yearly horror convention in SeaTac, just outside of Seattle. At the first weekend of May is what it tends to be, at the Hilton Doubletree. As I'm recording this, the next one's about 2 months from now. Go to CrypticonSeattle.com and find them on Facebook to see everything running up for the guests. I'm not going to mention who and what right now because it might be out of date by the time you're actually watching this, if you're coming back watching older episodes. But look for Crypticon. It's a great convention. I'm there as a panelist, and there as a film judge. I'm just there to have fun. Lots of amazing people. Some of my favorite people up here in Pacific Northwest all met at Crypticon, and we love to hang out. It's a little horror movie summer camp in the beginning of May of every year. So check that out, and back to Stephen King on TV and film. And on that same panel, I was lucky to get a wonderful group of other panelists, all who love Stephen King for different reasons, who have different favorites, different worsts. So it's not just the same things. Oh yeah, I love this movie, I love it too. Next, we did have those disagreements, which were made for great conversation, and those conversations will continue here. It won't be just me talking to you through these videos. I did get a team of wonderful people that I've blackmailed, asked very nicely, to go through their thoughts and analysis and have little discussions over each of the titles as we move through. They normally won't be here physically with me. We're from all over the Pacific Northwest, possibly all over the country, the world, depending on as things move in people's schedules, who might get involved for particular videos, who might not be here for other ones. But but currently the people we have set up are across Washington, and rather than just talking to you about them myself, I've asked each of them to send in a video saying who they are, why they're amazing, and a little bit about their love of Stephen King, or their hatred of Stephen King in some cases, depending on what they're going to talk about. So let's go ahead and meet our friends.
Hello everyone, my name is TJ Tranchell. I am a writer, journalist, horror fan, Stephen King fan. Thanks for letting me play along with this, and I hope you enjoy what we're going to do here. I've been reading Stephen King since I was about 11 years old. My first was Misery, and somehow I still became a writer. Go figure. My favorite, though, right now is Bag of Bones. I know that's not a common favorite, but I have my reasons. I'm also a big fan of the Dark Half, Lisi's story, and the Dark Tower series. My favorite Stephen King movie is also a bit of an oddball. I would have to say 1408. I love the changes that they made and just the emotional impact that that brought to it. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll probably tell you more about my books and Stephen King influence in those because I can't get away from it. It is what it is. All right. Hope you didn't mind the glare on the glasses. That's life. Check y'all later.
Hi, my name is Amie Simon, and I'm excited to talk to you about Stephen King. I run my own horror movie blog called I Love Splatter, and you can find that at ilovesplatter.com and also on Twitter and Instagram at I Love Splatter. And I also write film reviews for 3imaginairegirls.com, which is a local Seattle music blog, and we integrated film about 10 years ago into that, which is pretty cool. I am a huge Stephen King enthusiast. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and Stephen King was huge then. You know, a lot of the Stephen King adaptations came out in the 80s, which is pretty awesome. I also rated my mom's Stephen King book collection, which brought me to my first novel that I read, Salem's Lot. This is the actual copy that my mom had, and that I took off of her shelf to read when I was way too young to read it. I think I was 9 or 10, but I loved it. And then I read The Shining next. I love a lot of his movies, even though I recognize that a lot of them are not great. And I know that a lot of people love The Shining, of course, because it's amazing, but Stephen King doesn't love that version of The Shining. He prefers Mick Garris's remake, which was fine, but not quite as great, in my opinion, as Kubrick's version. And I love De Palma's version of Carrie as well. But a few more that I like are the television series of Needful Things. I thought they did a really excellent job with that. And I really love Storm of the Century, which was written for a television. It's not adapted from a book, and I think it's a really strong story. It has a really interesting villain. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this project and talk to you about Stephen King movies. And here we go.
And we're back, and buy TJ's books. You should do that. I highly recommend them. Everyone there won't be on every video. Some people have more things to say about certain topics than others. I might get some ringers in who I know particularly have things to say about particular titles. I'm glad I can get all these different voices and all these different ideas, and that should make a more dynamic series for more ideas to go through, to look through, to re-look at some of these films that we've seen hundreds, dozens, 0 times for some of them maybe. You should expect videos on the 10th and 20th of every month. That's what I'm expecting. We're going to go for 1 title per video. We might go over an entire series in one go, because I don't think anyone wants to have 6 whole months of the Children of the Corn. They'll be spread out. If they did that, they'd be spread out between when they came out chronologically, but I'm probably going to lump those into one go. That's half of a year of a series that no one probably wants to hear 15 minutes to talk about Children of the Corn 666 Isaac's Return. Instead, just a few minutes and moving past it. If you do want me to do individual episodes for each of those, definitely let me know. I can look at that as its own thing. Yes, Stephen King has a metric butt ton of credits. We can't possibly cover everything that's been adapted from him. If you look in IMDb, he currently has 310 credits, probably changed already, going everything from feature-length adaptations to shorts to video games to everything in between. The vast majority of those entries are dollar babies, something I'm not going to get into. If you don't know what a dollar baby is, Stephen King will give you the rights as a upcoming filmmaker to make a short of whatever hasn't been optioned already by a studio that someone else doesn't have the rights to. So a lot of short stories, particularly from the Night Shift collection, are up to grabs for that. For that $1, you can go and you can make your movie, as long as you're not going to go and release it commercially, make a profit off it. It's for you to help yourself along, and having the Stephen King name helps you get you into a lot of film festivals. A lot of the stuff I watch at Crypticon Film Festival, or I've seen other film festivals, are Stephen King adaptations, because hey, I know that name, I know that title, and that really helps to give it a step up, because he wants to make sure everyone has that ability to do that. So we're not going to be covering dollar babies on the show. There are just too many of them to watch. The quality for many of them is probably a little lower. That's not a dig against any upcoming filmmakers. I know we all have to take those steps. We have to get where we're going. But also they're kind of hard to find because they're not meant for public consumption. You can probably search a couple on YouTube, kind of a couple here and there. And if we did cover those, we'd be covering a lot of the same titles over and over again. The Last Long on the Ladder, The Boogeyman, The Woman in the Room, The Man Who Loved Flowers, I Am the Doorway. Always come from Night Shift, so it'd be kind of going over the same things again and again and again. I really don't want to do that. I'm going to do that enough with Children of the Corn, which has its own dollar baby, Disciples of the Crow, which actually is pretty solid. If you take those 310 titles, remove the dollar babies, remove everything that's currently in production, the video game adaptations or things that he's written for that, and everything else extraneous from the main titles, that cuts us down to about 90. So if we're doing 2 a month, this will take a couple years to go through, and of course as we move through we'll get new entries towards the end, such as the upcoming It Chapter 2, Pet Sematary, Dr. Sleep, and who knows what will come out by the time we finish this. Whether these titles will get their own individual episode when they come out or when they come out chronologically, I don't know. There'll definitely be something about each of these onto cityofgeek.com, whether video review, written review, or what have you. So they might keep those just that, but we'll see where things turn out, right? If you do want to hear everyone's thoughts on those titles, definitely want us to know whether they write something on their own blogs. This is Amy's I Love Spider, or something that we can work together when we meet up at various points, at Crypticons, at just things going on. Maybe we can go through those, or maybe I can just do quick one-off videos outside the series. Let me know if you want those, and we can look at them. And since we are going chronologically, the starting point will be 1976's Carrie, directed by Brian De Palma. The first of 4 entries in the series is this, the 2013 feature film remake, the 1999 Rage Carrie 2 sequel, 2002 TV movie starring Angela Bettis. This next episode will just cover just this movie. Each of those other entries will get their own separate episode. I'm really looking forward to jumping into this daunting project. With 90 entries, this is going to take a while to go through. I'm going to learn so much about Stephen King. I'm looking forward to these conversations and discussions that I'm having with TJ, with Amy, with Adrienne, with anyone else that we have involved. I look forward to hearing what anyone who might be watching this thinks about these titles. This is going to be fun, this is going to be scary, this is going to be my own version of The Dark Tower in so many ways. Long, encompassing project that takes so much time, takes so much effort, but hopefully it's worth it at the end. I'm not going to end yelling and throwing little snitches at you. To anyone who read The Dark Tower, that makes more sense. Anyone else like, what the fuck are you talking about? I saw that crap movie. I kind of like the movie, but that's besides the point. We'll worry about that in like, what, 15 years when you talk about Idris Elba as Roland. As we move through Stephen King's work, I'm looking forward to getting into some of the really big highs, in which someone always has to cut onions in the room every time I watch this, I don't know why, and some of the really low lows. I don't even know if this movie counts in the catalog or not, but we can discuss that when the time comes. And I'm really looking forward to going into some of the forgotten gems, the things that we don't normally talk about. We talk about Stephen King, we all talk about The Shining a lot, we talk about Shawshank Redemption, we talk about The Stand when it has an upcoming adaptation. But I'm really looking forward to talking about the things you might like, I think I remember that. Yeah. That's going to be so much fun to go into those. On behalf of Adrienne, TJ, Amy, and whoever else might be coming into the video at any point in the future between here and the time we finish, thank you for watching this video, and we look forward to seeing you next time when we talk about Brian De Palma's Carrie.